Some internet mysteries don't need jump scares or fake haunted stories to feel creepy. Sometimes the weirdest stuff is just sitting out in the open. A Reddit page full of code with no clear explanation. A puzzle that started online and somehow had people looking for clues in real life. A YouTube channel uploading thousands of videos that look like they were made by a machine. And a live TV broadcast getting hijacked by somebody in a mask while people were just trying to watch the show. And the crazy part is, all of this actually happened. People saw it, people saved it, people wrote about it, communities formed around it, and even when some of these stories got explanations, they still didn't feel normal. So today we are going through 4 internet mysteries that still feel wrong. Not because they all have some hidden monster behind them, but because even when you know the story, something about it still feels off. Story 1. A858, Reddit's code mystery. The first mystery starts on Reddit, but not with some long creepy story or confession post. It was just a code. There was a subreddit called r/A858DE45F56D9BC9. Most people shorten it to A858 because honestly, the full name already sounds like a corrupted file sitting on an old hard drive. Around 2011, the subreddit started filling up with long strings of letters and numbers. Not normal posts, not conversations, just huge walls of text that looked like data encryption or something that was not really meant for regular people to read. At first, it could have easily been ignored as spam, but the posts kept coming, and when something strange keeps showing up with no explanation, people start paying attention. Some users thought it looked like a hexadecimal. Others thought it was encrypted. Some thought it was an ARG, a cryptography challenge, or maybe some kind of project being hidden in plain sight. A separate community formed around tracking the posts, comparing patterns and collecting possible clues. That is when A858 stopped feeling like random internet noise and started feeling intentional. And that is the weird part. If it was just spam, why did it keep going? If it was random text, why did people keep finding structure in it? And if it was a project, why put it on Reddit in a way that made everybody confused? Over time, one explanation people pointed out to was that A858 may have been connected to a failed commercial project, not some secret government signal, not a monster in the code. Possibly just a project that never turned into what it was supposed to be. But even that answer feels unfinished. What exactly was the product? Who was behind it? Why use Reddit like that? Why leave people staring at the blocks of code for years? That is why A858 still feels off. The page was real. The posts were real. The people digging through it were real. But the reason behind it still feels like somebody closed the tab before the page finished loading. Story 2. Cicada 3301. The second mystery is Cicada 3301. And even if you have heard the name before, the story still sounds unreal when you slow it down. On January 4th, 2012, a message appeared online saying, "Hello, we are looking for highly intelligent individuals." That is already a wild way to start anything on the internet. The message said there was a hidden message inside the image. People looked closer, and sure enough, there was more inside it. That led to another clue, then another, and pretty quickly, this was not just one weird image anymore. Cicada used cryptography, hidden files, book codes, old literature, PGP signatures, and eventually real-world locations. That is what made it different. A lot of online puzzles stay online. You find a link, open a file, maybe read some weird text, and that's it. But Cicada crossed over into a real life. At one point, clues led to GPS coordinates in different cities, and people found posters with QR codes sitting out in public. That is where the theories got loud. Some people thought it was a hacker group, some thought it was a recruitment test, some thought it was tied to privacy, intelligence work, or some kind of secret group. And I get why people went there, because the whole thing felt way too organized to be random. It did not feel like a normal brand campaign. It did not feel like somebody chasing attention. It felt planned. Like whoever was behind it had the knowledge, the patience, and the discipline to build something most people could not even follow. There were major puzzle rounds in 2012, 2013, and 2014. Later, verified messages warned people not to trust anything that was not properly signed, because by then, copycats and fake puzzles were already part of the story. And that detail is important. Cicada cared about what was real and what was fake. It had rules, signatures, and a level of organization that made it feel serious. But from the outside, the big questions still hang over it. Who was really behind Cicada? What were they looking for? Did anyone actually reach the end? And why did it fade away? That is why Cicada still has this weird power. It feels like there was a locked door on the internet, and most people only ever saw the first few clues leading up to it. Story 3: Webdriver Torso. The third mystery is not as dark as the others, but visually, it might be one of the strangest. There was a YouTube channel called Webdriver Torso. For a while, people had no idea what they were looking at. The channel uploaded thousands of short videos. Most of them were almost identical. White background, red and blue rectangles, random movement, beeping sounds. That was pretty much it. No person talking, no normal thumbnails, no clear reason for the uploads. Just these test-looking videos appearing over and over again. And if you found that channel without knowing the context, I can see why it messed with people. It looked like a machine was using YouTube, not making content for people, not trying to entertain anybody, just uploading the same strange pattern again and again, like it was checking something. So people started guessing. Was it a code? Were the beeps hiding a message? Did the rectangles mean something? Was it connected to another internet puzzle? Eventually, the answer people got was much less dramatic. Webdriver Torso was connected to Google and YouTube testing. The videos were basically used to check uploads, processing, and video quality. So yes, this one has a normal explanation, but that is actually why I think it's interesting. To YouTube, it was testing. To everyone else, it looked like a signal. And that says a lot about the internet. Sometimes something isn't meant to be mysterious at all. It is just a tool, a back-end process, or some test that regular people were never supposed to care about. But once people see it and nobody explains it right away, the internet builds the story itself. That is Webdriver Torso. Explain, but still off. Like watching a machine practice being a YouTube channel. Story 4: The Max Headroom Broadcast Hijacking. The last mystery is older than the others, but it might be the one that looks the most disturbing on screen. On November 22nd, 1987, people in Chicago were watching TV like normal when the broadcast suddenly changed. The first interruption happened during a WGN TV broadcast. The signal cut away to a person wearing a Max Headroom style mask, moving around in the front of a strange background. The audio was mostly buzzing, so viewers could not really make out much. That first interruption only lasted around half a minute. Then later that same night, it happened again. This time during a WTTW broadcast of Doctor Who. And the second interruption lasted longer. The figure in the mask appeared again, moving strangely, making distorted sounds, and creating one of those clips that still feels wrong even decades later. What makes this one different is that it was not uploaded after the fact. It was not some edited internet video. Somebody posted for attention. People saw it live. They were sitting at home, watching TV, and suddenly the signal was taken over by somebody they did not know, wearing a mask, saying strange things, and then disappearing back into static. And the person behind it was never officially identified. That is what keeps it alive. Broadcast hijacking was not something just anybody could casually do. This took technical knowledge, timing, and real risk. One common theory is that the hijacker used a separate transmission source to overpower the station's signal, possibly from a nearby location with line of sight. But the exact details were never publicly locked in with one clean answer. So people are left with the same questions. Who was behind the mask? Were there multiple people involved? Was it a prank? Was it someone with broadcasting knowledge? And why risk all of that just to create something so bizarre? With Max Headroom, we know what people saw. The footage exists. The broadcasts were interrupted. The weird part is the person behind it is still just a figure in a mask, hidden behind static. So those are 4 internet mysteries that still feel wrong. A Reddit code mystery that never got a fully satisfying explanation. A puzzle that pulled people from the internet into the real world. A YouTube testing channel that looked like a machine sending signals. And a live TV hijacking where the person behind the mask was never caught. What I like about these stories is that all of them feel different. 8858 feels quiet and confusing. Cicada feels organized and way too serious. Webdriver Torso feels robotic and empty. And Max Headroom feels like something you were never supposed to see on TV. So now I want to ask you, which one should get its own full video next? 8858, Cicada 3301, Webdriver Torso, or the Max Headroom hijacking? And if you know any weird Reddit threads, dead websites, strange YouTube channels, lost media stories, or internet mysteries that you want me to go over, drop them in the comments. This is Punxxboy Files. And sometimes the internet does not hide things because they are impossible to find. Sometimes it hides them because nobody understands what they are looking at until years later.